It's fast, it's red, and it's shaped like the head of a freaking snake. It embarrassed exotics from around the world while being hand-built in the good old US of A, baby. This is everything you need to know to get up to speed on the Dodge Viper. The year is 1988 and Chrysler is in trouble. Despite surviving near bankruptcy a few years prior, Chrysler was still trailing in sales behind their rivals Ford and Chevy. What they came up with was the most hardcore sports car since the Shelby Cobra. Chrysler Executive Vice President Bob Lutz knew what he wanted: a two-seat sports car in the spirit of the Jaguar E-Type and legendary Shelby Cobra. He wanted a big engine, manual transmission, and no fancy electronic aids like traction control or anti-lock brakes to get in the way. Oh shit. He met up with Chrysler's head of design, Tom Gale, and let him in on the plan. There would be no focus groups. Alan, Lisa, Josh, yeah. Chrysler suits telling Gale what to do. He had free reign to do whatever possible to bring Lutz's vision to life, and Gale did just that. Gale had started his career working on the Plymouth Barracuda and the Challenger, so, I think he knew a thing or two about designing badass cars. Their car took tons of inspiration from the sports cars of the 60s. A long hood and short deck and no roof. The Shelby Cobra was a huge influence on the design, and Carroll Shelby himself was attached to the project. Even the name was taken from the Cobra. They couldn't call it the Cobra, obviously, and Anaconda meant Sir Mix-a-Lot's wiener. My Anaconda don't. Now, Viper sounded good. It took Gale and his team less than a year to build a running prototype just in time for the 1989 North American International Auto Show. Before Chrysler President Lee Iacocca had introduced the car, down payments were being mailed to Chrysler. People were going crazy for the new Viper. Celebrities even tried to bribe Bob Lutz to get their names onto the waiting list, which frankly wasn't a bad idea because Dodge only produced 285 Vipers in 1992. Like the Shelby Cobra, the first Viper lacked any feature that wasn't essential to making it go fast. Like the Cobra, there was no air conditioning, no power locks, no door handles, no roof, no windows. The only traction control on board were your friggin' feet. A lot of sports cars are marketed as a race car for the street, but the Viper truly meant it. It didn't have words like compromise or subtlety in its vocabulary. All it wanted to do was go really fast. The Viper was notoriously difficult to drive quickly and wasn't afraid to bruise your ego. The Viper didn't hesitate to hurt you physically either. The side exhaust was located right under the door, leading to many complaints of people burning themselves as they got out of their car. That wouldn't be a problem for me because if I owned a Viper, I would always wear cowboy boots. Chrysler owned Lamborghini until 1994, which meant they had access to the engineering know-how of one of the most radical car companies in the world. The same people who came up with the Miura, Countach, and Diablo would now be helping out with the Viper. Chrysler had Lamborghini convert Dodge's iron block V10, originally meant for trucks, into an aluminum design better suited for the lightweight Viper. This 8-liter V10 design was 2 liters bigger than the engine in the Diablo, at a quarter of the price. And the Lambo connection doesn't end there, as the same guy designed the Diablo's exterior. Diablo and Viper. If there were royalty checks given for bedroom posters, Tom Gale would be a fucking billionaire. This awesome combination of low weight and high power meant that the Viper could hold its own against competitors like Ferrari and Lamborghini for a fraction of the cost. The Viper was proof that Chrysler still had some brilliance left in them after all. The Viper lost a bit of its edge in 1994 when air conditioning became an option, which is cool, I guess, if you're a I'm just kidding. I get really sweaty. The Viper got a few minor updates, including door handles and a roof in 1996 with the introduction of the GTS Coupe. The GTS was intended to be a Viper that was a little easier to live with day to day. Then in 1999, Dodge gave the Viper its first serious upgrade, the Viper ACR. ACR stood for American Club Racer, and it was a race car. The ACR was equipped with BBS wheels, Coney shocks tuned for the track, and 5-point racing harnesses. It friggin' ripped! The ACR had a 0-60 of 4.5 seconds with a top speed of 180 miles per hour. You could drive 180 miles in a single hour. That is faster than any animal on Earth. The ACR wasn't the only Viper Dodge cooked up for the track. The Viper GTS-R debuted in 1999 and was an immediate success on the track. Dodge had teamed up with the French team Oreca Eureka, to develop the Viper into a serious GT contender, and they succeeded. In 2 years, the GTS-R won 16 of the 18 races it entered. That is pretty good. They entered 18, they won 16, they only lost twice. The Viper underwent its first major facelift in 2003, just like my dad. The headlights got a little angrier, just like my dad's, and the Viper itself got a little bit bulkier, just like my dad. But just because it was bigger didn't mean it was slower, just like my dad. Despite the husky appearance, the Viper actually lost 100 pounds and gained 50 horsepower, making 500 horses at the crank. From 2003 to 2005, the Viper was only available as a convertible. The GTS Coupe returned in 2006, but only for 1 year, because in 2007, the Viper disappeared from the showroom. Let me just show you this Viper. It's right here in the... Dan, what happened to the Viper? No, I'm in the showroom. Dan, I'm in the showroom. It's not here. Well, I think I would see it if it were in here, Dan. Dan, why didn't you? By 2007, Chrysler once again found itself in dire straits. Sales had plummeted and the company was operating at a loss. Chrysler's parent company, Daimler-Benz, saw the writing on the wall and sold Chrysler to an investment fund at a huge loss. Yikes. Thankfully, the Viper was only on hiatus for a single year. The Viper returned in 2008 with a fresh face, featuring bigger mouth and headlights, as well as more horsepower, 600 of them to be exact. The ACR was back too, with new aero bits that generated 1,000 pounds of downforce. The Viper was still the real deal, but like all good things, including every single one of my hamsters, the Viper's return was to be short-lived. I mean, is it the food? I clean their cages. I try not to handle them too much, just enough so that they know that they're loved. If you guys know why my hamsters keep dying, please let me know in the comments below. When Fiat bought Chrysler in 2009, there was some speculation that the Viper might get some tech from Fiat's crown jewel, Ferrari. But this rumor stayed a rumor, because one morning in July 2009, Dodge announced the end of the Viper production. These assholes! Dodge CEO Ralph Gilles stated that Dodge wanted to preserve the value of the current cars by not building them indefinitely. That's not a real reason, Ralph. It's like saying, oh, I want to break up with you, James, because I like dating you so much. Luckily for Viper fans, Gilles also announced that the Viper would return with an all-new platform. Kind of like, yeah, we're breaking up, but we can do it one last time. The Viper returned in 2013. The so-called Phase 15 Viper had a more aggressive face, 640 horsepower, and somehow became sleeker and more dignified than the previous generation. The sweeping curves and long hoods stayed true to the spirit of the original Viper and other driving legends before it. In an age where throwbacks managed to ignore everything that made the original great, Dodge deserves credit for keeping true to the original vision set forth by Bob Lutz and Tom Gale. With this second revival of the Viper came all the familiar trim levels. The GTS was back, and Dodge introduced a new Time Attack edition featuring track-tuned suspension, lots of carbon fiber, and an exclusive orange color option. Dodge also had something very special in store, the return of the ACR. And just like Chris Christie on Thanksgiving, Dodge left nothing on the table. The new ACR produced 1,700 pounds of downforce thanks to the carbon fiber body kit. The rear wing is exactly 1,776 millimeters across because America was f***ing founded in 1776. That's a little history lesson for you, you f***ing Philistine. The Viper was now the 6th fastest production car ever around the ring, putting foreign supercars to shame with nothing but a manual transmission and a really, really big wing. It was a fitting send-off for one of the greatest American cars ever. A send-off? Yeah. The Viper was killed off again. Sure, it isn't a recent development. Fiat Chrysler told us they were going to do this back in 2015, but it still hurts, okay? The last Viper rolled off the assembly line on August 16th, 2017, wearing the same red paint as the very first Viper 25 years ago. As we say goodbye to the Viper, we have to remember that not all hope is lost. The Viper has come back from retirement twice now, proving that its spirit can't be killed forever. I wouldn't be surprised if it returns to us once again when we need it the most. That's everything you need to know to get up to speed on the Dodge Viper. What did we miss? What did we do wrong? What did we do right? What's your favorite part of this series? What cars do you want to see us cover? Do you remember that Hulk Hogan show with, was there a Hulk Hogan show with a Viper? Would you daily drive a Viper? Do you think they're cool? I think they're cool. I don't know if I would drive one every day. I'm getting a lot of emails from potential siblings. If you guys know how I can figure out the legitimacy of all these, there's like 150 of them. I would like to have a family, but I don't want to get screwed. You know, I make like $6 million a year doing this job.